The 10 seconds after a kiss are more powerful than the kiss itself. Most women don't know that. They pour everything into the moment their lips meet his. They think that's the thing that matters. That's the thing that creates the feeling. That's the thing that makes him want more. But the kiss is just the door opening. What happens in the 10 seconds after you pull apart that is what decides everything. That tiny quiet window right after, when you're both just standing there and the warmth is still in the air between you, that is where he is making a decision about you that he doesn't even know he's making. And if you don't know what to do in those 10 seconds, you are leaving the most important moment of the whole night completely to chance. That is what the 10-second rule is. And by the end of this, you are never going to walk out of a kiss the same way again. Now, I want you to really sit with something before we go any further. Think about the last time you kissed someone you really liked. Think about what you did the second it ended. Because most women, and I mean almost every woman, does the same thing in that moment without realizing it. They smile really big. They let out this little breathless laugh. They reach back in for another one because the first one ended and they are not ready to let the feeling go yet. Or they say something soft and warm like, that was really nice in a voice that gives away every single thing happening inside them. And here is the brutal truth about all of that. Every single one of those responses, as real and genuine and sweet as they feel in the moment, is quietly killing the attraction he just felt for you. Not because showing feelings is wrong, but because of the timing and because of what those responses are telling him without using a single word. What they are telling him is this: you already have me. The chase is done. There is nothing left to figure out here. And the second a man gets that message, not consciously, not in a calculated way, but just as a gut feeling, something in him starts to cool down. The wanting starts to settle. And you will feel it too, even if you cannot name it. Things felt electric right up until that kiss. And then after it, something shifted just slightly. He was a little more casual, a little less urgent. The texts came a little slower. And you sat there wondering what you did wrong when the answer was sitting right there in those 10 seconds after the kiss. Here is what you need to understand about how men actually work in moments like this. When a man kisses a woman he genuinely likes, not just any woman, but someone he actually has real feelings for, something opens up in him right after. For just a few seconds, his guard comes all the way down. Men spend most of their lives keeping some kind of wall up. That cool, slightly held back energy that says, I am not going to show you everything I feel just yet. But right after a kiss, that wall is gone. He is completely open. And in that exact moment, with his guard down and his heart actually beating a little faster than he wants to admit, his brain starts doing something very specific. It starts reading you, not thinking about the kiss anymore. He has already moved past the kiss. What he is doing now is watching what you do next. And what you do next either turns the wanting up or quietly starts turning it down. This is why the 10-second rule exists. And this is why the women who understand it seem to have this quality that men just cannot stop chasing, this thing where a man kisses them and instead of feeling like he has arrived somewhere, he feels like he has just gotten a taste of something he cannot get enough of. Let me walk you through exactly what this looks like in real life. What you do with your body, what you do with your eyes, what you say and what you don't say. Because this is not abstract. This is not some vague idea about playing it cool. This is a very specific set of things that happen in a very specific window of time, and every single one of them matters. The first 2 seconds after a kiss ends are the most important. This is where most women lose everything without knowing it. Because the moment that kiss ends, your body is running hot, your heart is going faster, everything feels warm and a little electric. And there is this massive pull toward him because the closeness just ended and your body wants more of it. That pull is real. That pull is completely natural. But that pull is also the thing that makes most women lean back in too fast, smile too wide, and hand over every bit of their mystery in about 2 seconds flat. The 10-second rule starts right here. You feel that pull and you don't chase it. You don't run from it either. You just feel it and you stay where you are. You come back to yourself first before you do anything. And I already know what you were thinking. You were thinking, this sounds like I am telling you to be cold, to act like the kiss didn't do anything to you. That is not what I am saying at all. This is not about being cold. This is not about pretending. This is about understanding that the most attractive thing you can do in those first 2 seconds is simply not collapse into the moment. A woman who can take a kiss that genuinely moved her and still come back to herself with her own energy fully intact, that woman reads as something completely different to a man. She reads as someone who has a whole world going on inside her that he hasn't gotten to see yet. And that is the thing that makes him want to see more. So what does that actually look like? It looks like this. The kiss ends, and instead of immediately filling the silence, you let it breathe for a second. 1 beat, 2 beats. You let the moment land without rushing to make something out of it. You settle back into your own skin, and that silence, and I know silence feels uncomfortable. I know everything in you wants to say something to keep the connection going. That silence is not empty. That silence is doing something. It is telling him that you are comfortable enough in yourself that you don't need to manage the moment. You don't need to make sure he still likes you. You don't need to check his face for a reaction. You just lived in that moment and now you are moving forward. And a woman who can do that, who can sit in the quiet right after something that warm and intimate and not flinch, that woman makes a man feel something he genuinely doesn't have words for. He just knows he wants more of whatever that is. Now, let me get into something that I think is the most powerful part of the 10-second rule and the part that almost nobody talks about. What you do with your body right after a kiss matters just as much as what you say, maybe more, because your body is speaking before your mouth opens. And most women, right after a kiss ends, keep their whole body pointed at him. Their face is still turned toward him. Their eyes keep coming back to his. Their feet are still planted right in front of him. And all of that is completely natural when you like someone. But what it communicates without a single word is that you are still waiting, still in the moment, still needing something from him before you can come back to yourself. And that kind of energy, even when it comes from a totally genuine place, starts to feel heavy to a man. It starts to feel like weight. And the moment something starts feeling like weight, even slightly, he instinctively wants a little more space. What you want to do instead is what I call the pullback. Not a dramatic pullback, not a cold turn away, just a natural, easy shift where you come back into your own space. Maybe you glance around the room for a second. Maybe you shift your body so you are both looking in the same direction instead of face to face. Maybe you start walking somewhere. You are just moving back into your own world in a relaxed, easy way. And what that does to him in those seconds is remarkable. He feels the warmth pull back just slightly, not disappear, just pull back. And that creates something in him that no amount of telling him how you feel will ever create. It creates a want, a lean. That feeling of, wait, I want more of that, come back. And that feeling, that tiny lean he feels the moment your energy pulls back just a little, that is the beginning of him falling for you. Think about it this way. When someone always has their full attention pointed at you, after a while it starts to feel like pressure, even when they don't mean it that way. But when that same person has their own energy, their own world, their own thing going on, and every now and then they turn toward you, it feels completely different. It feels like something you want to earn. And that difference between a woman who makes a man feel comfortable and a woman who makes a man feel like he needs to keep showing up to earn her attention, that difference starts in these 10 seconds right after a kiss. Now, around the 5 or 6 second mark, something really interesting starts happening. The initial rush of the kiss has settled a little. His brain is coming back online. And this is actually the moment when he is most available to see you, not just the warmth of what just happened, but you as a person, who you actually are, what you are actually like. And this is where the 10-second rule gives you something incredibly powerful to work with. This is what I call the personality flash. Most women in this part of those 10 seconds are still hovering in the feeling of the kiss, still a little flushed, still a little lit up, still focused entirely on him and what he is thinking. But the woman who understands the 10-second rule does something different. She brings herself into the room. She says something funny, or she notices something around her and makes a quick, sharp observation about it. Or she brings up something completely unrelated to the kiss in a way that is so natural and easy that it kind of snaps him out of the post-kiss haze and pulls him into a real moment with something small, a quick joke, a random thought she had, a one-line observation about something nearby. It doesn't have to be big. It just has to be real. And here is why this is so powerful. In that moment, right, when his brain is the most open and available, he is not just seeing a woman who was good to kiss. He is seeing a woman who is interesting, a woman who has something going on inside her that has nothing to do with him, a woman who is funny and sharp and fully present in her own life. And that combination, warmth plus substance, closeness plus mystery, is the exact combination that men cannot stop thinking about. It is what separates the woman he kisses and then gradually stops texting from the woman he kisses and spends the next 3 days thinking about. The personality flash doesn't have to be clever. It doesn't have to be impressive. It just has to show him that your world didn't pause when his lips met yours. Your world is still turning. You are still in it. And he just got a small peek at what it looks like from the inside. And when a man gets that peek, when he feels like there is more here than he has seen yet, when he senses a door cracking open, but not all the way, he doesn't want to stop looking. That is the thing that keeps him coming back. Now, here is something I really want you to hear, because it is the part that most advice about men gets completely backwards. You will hear a lot of people say that right after a moment of closeness, you should make him feel special, build him up, tell him how great he is, make him feel seen. And look, there is nothing wrong with making a man feel good, but the timing of it matters enormously. Because if you drop a big compliment right after a kiss, if you tell him how amazing he is or how much you like him right in that 10-second window, he hears it through a very specific filter. He hears it as the warmth of the moment talking. He thinks, okay, she is feeling the rush of that and it is making her generous. That is sweet, but it doesn't stick. It doesn't carry weight. It doesn't make him think about you later that night when he is lying in the dark. But when you stay cool, stay easy, stay like yourself in those 10 seconds, and then later on, in the middle of some totally normal conversation, you drop one small, genuine, specific thing that shows you actually see him, that lands completely differently. It lands because it didn't come from the heat of the moment. It came from you actually paying attention. And a man can feel the difference between those two things. One feels like overflow, the other feels like something he actually earned. The 10-second rule is about knowing where your gold is and not spending it all at once in the one moment when you most feel like spending it. Now, let's talk about the words, because what you say or choose not to say in those 10 seconds matters a lot. And there is a very specific type of language that works in this window, and a type that quietly kills everything you just built. The language that kills it sounds like this. Oh my God, that was incredible. I have been wanting to do that all night. You are such a good kisser. And every single one of those things might be completely true, but every single one of them is giving him the full report on exactly how the kiss went for you. You are handing him the whole picture, every feeling, fully unwrapped, right there in the open. And when you do that, when you give him the complete picture that fast, he doesn't have to wonder about anything anymore. And wondering is the engine. Wondering is what makes a man pick up his phone at midnight. Wondering is what makes him replay the moment in his head. When there is nothing left to wonder, the engine stops. Now, I want to stay here for a second because this is the part that trips women up the most, and I don't want you to move past it too fast. When a man doesn't have the full picture, when there is still something left to figure out about you, his brain stays active. He keeps thinking about you. He keeps running the moment back. He keeps asking himself, does she feel the same way I do? Was that as big a deal to her as it was to me? That question is not anxiety for him. That question is interest. That question is the thing that makes him bring you up to his friends the next day. That question is what makes him reach for his phone before he even realizes he's doing it. The moment you answer that question completely in those 10 seconds after the kiss, you take away the very thing that would have kept him thinking about you for days. The language that builds something sounds completely different. It sounds easy. It sounds like someone who just folded that moment naturally into the rest of their evening. It sounds like, okay, where were we? Or I just thought of something. Or you know what this just reminded me of? It sounds like a woman who took something that genuinely moved her and wore it lightly. And that ease, that ability to receive something that warm and not spin out over it, is one of the most attractive qualities a woman can have. Especially right there in that moment when the more natural thing is to make it a big deal. Because here is the truth at the bottom of all of this. Men do not fall hardest for the woman who shows them every feeling in the moment she feels it. They fall hardest for the woman who makes them wonder how deep those feelings actually go. That wondering is the hook. That wondering is what turns a guy who likes you into a guy who cannot stop thinking about you. That wondering starts in the 10 seconds after a kiss. There is one more piece of this, and it might be the most important one. The way you end those 10 seconds, the way you step out of that window, is the last impression that sits in his brain when you are not around. And the mistake most women make right here is what I call the slow drift. They start stretching out the goodbye energy. They look for one more moment of closeness before the window officially closes. They ask a question that is really just a way of keeping him right there a little longer. They laugh a little too long at something that wasn't that funny. They find a reason to touch his arm one more time. And every single one of those things, as natural as they feel, is dragging the energy down instead of leaving it high. That slow drift tells him something that works directly against everything you just built. It says, I am not ready to go back to my own world yet. I need a little more from you before I can do that. And the moment a man feels like you need something from him just to feel okay, desire starts turning into something else. It turns into responsibility. And responsibility is the slowest, quietest way to kill attraction that exists. He doesn't pull away fast. He just gradually over time starts to feel like being around you is something he has to manage rather than something he gets to enjoy. And you will feel the shift without ever being able to point to the exact moment it started. It started right there in the slow drift. The 10-second rule says you finish clean. You step out of that window on a high. You wrap up whatever just happened while it is still good, while the energy is still warm, while there is still something left to wonder about. And you do it in a way that is easy and light and totally natural. Something that just says, without saying it, I am glad that happened and I am also completely fine. And then you actually move forward. No reaching back, no slow fade. No, 3 more minutes of hovering while you are both still standing there pretending to be about to leave. When you walk away from a kiss like that, clean, easy, your own energy, fully intact, something happens in him that you will never see directly, but you will absolutely feel the results of. He watches you step back into your own world and he feels a pull. Not a comfortable, settled pull, an urgent one. The kind that makes him reach for his phone before he is even home. The kind that makes him replay those 10 seconds in his head and try to figure out what it was about you that felt so different from anyone else. He will not be able to name it, but he will feel it all the way down. And that is exactly the point. Because the 10-second rule is not a trick. It is not some cold, calculated move you make to keep a man off balance. It is a practice of knowing your own values so deeply that you don't need his reaction in the moment to tell you the kiss was good. You already know it was good. You felt it too. And now you are stepping back into your life fully whole, fully yourself, and letting him figure out how to keep up with you. And here is what I really want you to take away from all of this, because it goes way beyond the 10 seconds. The women who seem to effortlessly have men completely devoted to them. The women who never seem to be sitting around waiting or chasing or wondering where they stand. Those women are not doing something complicated. They are not running some game or following some checklist. What they have is one thing. They are genuinely at home in themselves. They like their own life. They have things in their world that matter to them. They are not waiting for a man to come along and make them feel whole. And because of that, every single moment of closeness they share with a man, every kiss, every late night conversation, every moment of real warmth, they can be fully in it and then fully step back out of it without losing themselves in the process. That quality is magnetic in a way that no amount of good looks or charm can. Men can feel it instantly. They cannot explain it. They just know that being around that woman feels completely different from being around anyone else.